Welcome back to the Hoops Temple Podcast. You all know me, Nathan Schwartz, and joining me in Sacramento, Aaron Schroeder. How's it going?
It's going great. Good to see you, Nate.
Good to see you too. We are back with the least inventive type of podcast here. We're doing a way too early awards show. Just kind of a nice way to bop around the league, look at some of the individuals. Last couple of times we've done a pod, Dylan and I have looked at disappointing teams and overachieving teams. Now it's time to focus in maybe a little bit more on who those key players are. And I just want to start things off with news that broke maybe 15, 17 minutes ago before we started recording this, which is that Giannis Antetokounmpo, no surprise there, has been named Player of the Week. And Aaron, would you like to talk about the Western Conference Player of the Week? He seems to be a personal favorite of yours.
I don't want to talk about it at all. The Western Conference Player of the Week was Harrison Barnes. This is just so damaging. The Kings lost to the Nets last night after he lost to the Clippers and lost to the Hawks, and we're going to lose to the Thunder tonight. I hate this Kings team, and it's one of my least favorite that I've ever watched in my lifetime. And Harrison Barnes being named Player of the Week is just doesn't help. And I think like the award show is good because it casts a wide net because I haven't been on in a while. But since I haven't been on in a while, I wanted to ask you, like, from a non-biased, a semi non-biased opinion, like what's going on with my Kings really quickly.
You guys just still aren't shooting well. Like, I know that sounds simple and sounds dumb, but like, one, I know DeMar missed a few games. I know Sabonis missed a few games, but like, really just got to regain the shooting touch, which you have capable shooters. Kevin Herter only exists in
You lost.
if you get a little bit, yeah, I clicked to load something and that
Hmm.
died. But like if you convince, if you get a little bit better shooting, a little bit more, you guys start hitting their threes, the team will be functional again. I think
Hmm.
that's all there is to it.
This is much less exciting than my fire everybody, burn this team down take that I've been going around saying. I won't hijack the podcast all too much with it. I think like yeah, DeMar missing a couple games, Sabonis, like Monk has been hurt since the beginning of the season. Maybe it's everything's still in reach, but we have no wings. We can't defend the 3-point line. We don't make threes, and then you just don't win games. We're kind of like the opposite of the Celtics, where the Celtics just run like all wings basically. What they have, um, we said two point guards, two small forwards, and a center, right? Was their thing. Well, the Kings thing
Mm-hmm.
is 2 point guards and then 3 point guards and two centers. Basically how we're running things. Like no, we have no wings, just space it all out. And so it's been an interesting season.
What do you mean you don't have wings? You have DeMar DeRozan. He's the
He's
wingiest wing that ever was winged.
he's I
Like,
think in the sense of like people that can defend the perimeter and shoot threes. He's like just plays power forward really. Or like I think the big thing like Keegan is asked to do everything. Like people want an offensive leap from him that I think he's capable of, but he has to guard every single opposing player because he's the only one that
mhm.
can do it the entire time, and so he's tired. But all right, well, I just wanted to get a temperature check on how we're feeling because it's real dark in Sacramento right now, and it's seats are getting hot.
Just remember, it's all early and the West has been brutal. There are 11 teams in the West that are 500 or better. There are 5 teams in the East that are 500 or better. So, like, you're going to take some losses against Western teams that just you wouldn't take. Like, you mean to tell me that if the Kings were in the East, like, they wouldn't be the 4 seed? They
It
absolutely
makes you
would.
feel worse. This doesn't help me. This makes me feel worse. I did see that Adam Silver is considering a like 16 team or 15 team, just half the league gets in. Um, for the playoffs, like abandoning the conference playoff format. I'm like, let's do it. I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Screw
And let's
tradition.
even
Get
out
Sacramento in the
games and
playoffs.
just get more good teams in the playoffs. Like, I mean, that the Spurs are not going to make the playoffs for like the next 2 to 3 years, no matter how good Victor gets, just because of how brutal the West is. And if we could get that 16 team, you're going to get Victor in the playoffs sooner, and then that's going to help our global reach. Like,
Good
it's a
point.
win-win. All right, awards time. MVP. Top 3 of the ballot. Let's go in reverse order. Aaron, who is your third place for your MVP ballot right now?
I had Anthony Davis. I think one of the biggest
Wow.
surprises for this season was Davis's kind of resurgence, and his passiveness on offense kind of limited him on me and Dylan's like top 10 or top 100 list heading into this season. He placed like kind of towards the back end of the teens because like this guy can't shoot and isn't this impactful offensively. He's just been fantastic. He's been so aggressive. He's averaging 30 points a game. He's taking 19 shots a night. He's taking 2 threes a game. He's hitting 40% of them. Feels like he's a bit more confident out there. I mean, the
Hmm.
volume isn't going to push anything, but at least it feels like when he gets it, he's at least been told to shoot it and like really told to shoot it. Where I feel like Darvin Ham didn't push him in those ways.
Hmm.
And JJ Redick has just been much more aggressive getting him the ball offensively, and he's been good defensively at the same time. The Lakers are 10-6. I think they look better than most of us expected. And yeah, Davis averaging 30 points, 12
Yeah.
rebounds,
And the
3
big thing about
assists.
just shooting those 2 threes a game at 40% is when he catches it, the defense has to come out. And now he can drive. Now he can do more. Now there's open room to the lane. Now other guys can cut. Like if Davis is standing at the 3-point line, you no longer have your big with a foot in the paint. Like he has to kind of respect him enough. And that has really opened up a lot of avenues that don't necessarily show up statistically in Davis's like points or profile or any sort of thing. So I like it.
Yeah, and he's taken 10 free throws a game too. His free throw rate is 54%, 14% higher than last season, by far the highest of his career. He's just being so much more aggressive, and it's so strange. Like Davis's career is always kind of confusing, where he's healthy some years and not the other years, and it's all this inconsistencies. For him to have his best season, at least so far at age 31, seems fitting, and I probably should have expected it.
So my third place is Don Garland, Mo Allen, a conglomeration of the 4 Cleveland Cavaliers smushed into one.
There you
Because
go.
I truly do believe in the idea of like best player, best team deserves some recognition in this, but I don't know who's the best player on this team anymore. I watched them play the I watched them play the Celtics the other day, and like they started spamming some Mobley actions, and Mobley was fantastic. Allen's length was both problematic on defense for the Celtics and really useful for lob threats on offense. In other games, Garland has been like the closer of the team, whereas Mitchell carries the team for the first 3 quarters. They have this fluidity to who is the best this guy at any given moment, who they want to attack with, and it's been a really fun team to watch. And they're 17-1. I think if one of them stood out more, I'd try to make a case for them to be like the second place, but as is, I'm smushing them together and I'm Atlanta Hawks 2016ing them into the third place MVP vote.
I was going to make that comparison, kind of very modern 2016
Hmm.
Hawks. I feel like I like their playoff chances better than the Hawks. I mean, that Hawks team made the conference finals, didn't they? Like, they still made it. They got
Um,
destroyed by LeBron, but they still made it.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I always forget because I feel like they were losing to the Wizards, and that was the year John Wall broke his hand in
Mm.
mid-series. And so they like kind of sneaked past in really unexciting fashion, but still, yeah, what was the 60-win Hawks team? Like
Yeah.
Cleveland's gonna get 60 this year. They're
Can we get
17
one
and
more
1.
pronunciation of what we're calling this?
Um, Don Arlen, Don Don
First name
Arland,
Denarland.
Mo Allen, Mullen,
Denarland Mo
Moland.
Allen. Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
MVP
Don Arlen,
candidate.
Mo Allen.
All right,
It just I don't know. That's the only way I'm getting them on this list.
I respect that.
Who's second
I
on
do.
your
I
ballot?
I had Jason Tatum. I think
Yeah.
Tatum really kind of he's taken a step forward this season. Me and Dylan had kind of criticized him over the offseason. Like he's a very good star. Like he's not a superstar quite yet. He's just on a very good team. But I feel like that has been different this year. I feel like he's been legitimately great. His playmaking has been better. He's averaging nearly 6 assists per game. He's still a plus defender. The Celtics have been awesome. He's averaging 29 points a night. I mean, he's great. And I think like him in the top 5 seems right this season more than it did last year.
Can I say the thing that I love about Tatum this year is with Porzingis out, although apparently Porzingis is coming back tonight.
Not really.
Allen's been guarding fives a little bit more often, which like I was watching them play in Minnesota because Minnesota has been my sneaky favorite league pass team to watch. Like they're good enough that they're competitive in every game, and they're bad enough that they can't blow anyone out. So it's like they're always a relatively decent game. But Tatum was guarding Rudy Gobert, so that way Horford can kind of be the roamer and kind of help out and attack in different places. And it's just like he's huge. Tatum is he's not like a 6'7" wing. He is like a legit 6'9", maybe even 6'10", with long arms, and like he could be a small ball 5 in some of these. And so I've really enjoyed to see him kind of embrace that role. But unfortunately, the Cleveland guys got his spot on my ballot. And my second spot goes to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think the continuation of what the Thunder have been doing and their small ball lineups. Their J-Dub at 5 lineups that they've been forced into with Chet at and Hartenstein only recently returning. The like speed in which they attack people and Shea helping down and switching onto bigs and like helping with the rebounding. The defense that lineup is producing is insane given like the limitations of only having like one guy over 6'5" on the floor.
He's been so aggressive defensively. I totally see that. I mean, you look at him being like the tallest player in those lineups. Um, it feels like it should be impossible, but like maybe they just played the Suns. Was it the Suns and Yusuf Nurkic? Like maybe that's cheating when you're playing against a Yusuf Nurkic like team at the 5. He's just his usual self. He is 30 a night with insane efficiency. He blocks shots. He gets 2 steals a game. He gets to the line and makes all of them. He's what you want. I mean, it's basically a perfect player.
So they did small ball lineups without Chet against the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Suns, the Mavs, Spurs, and Portland Trailblazers.
I mean, that's a big enough sample size, right? I can't pick that apart at this point of the season. They've been right. They can just do that. They have the lineup to just do that. And that's been so impressive.
Yeah. And then I think number 1 is for both of us, Nikola Jokic. Is there any? Did you have any consideration of having anyone else at number 1 for even the smallest split of a second?
Hell no. Hell no. This is a special season. This is a different year where the whole like the record, the team record, the whatever, no other factors matter. Jokic is so much better than everybody else that it isn't even a conversation. He's twice as good as every player we've mentioned.
Listen, 2 years ago, we came on this pod, and it was like a month before the end of the season. It was March, and we're talking MVP, and we're like, listen, this is Jokic's MVP. Is there anything that anyone could do? And we all said no, and then it went to Joel Embiid. It's been 1/5 of the season at this point. I'm not willing to rule out the chance that it goes to someone else, but Jokic has been truly special. And when I was looking around for our like most improved player picks, there's a lot of good numbers out of Christian Brown. And I was like, are these numbers better, or is he just playing with Jokic more?
Like, I thought you were going to suggest that Jokic is going to win most improved.
He's hitting 50% of his threes. I mean,
56% right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. I didn't think there was a leap to make, but this is just like so far. This is like 2000 Shaq season. Like this is one of the 10 best seasons ever. He's averaging 30 points a night on the best efficiency of his life, hitting a ridiculous amount of threes, hitting so many free throws. He's getting there 7 a night. He's taking 7 a night. 14 rebounds a game, tops the league. He's averaging 11 assists per game. That's his career high. He's gotten better in every category. It's just insane. I think the one thing that could hold the Nuggets back is like What if they win like 40 games? Do you think that like that's too, because they're 9-6 right now, and I think they're good. I think it's a great team. Because Jokic is on it, but like, what if this gets to like below 500, and then like, could you make the argument for a below 500 MVP?
So ironically, what this could end up looking like, I think in the worst case scenario, is this ends up looking like Westbrook's MVP, where once again you have a player averaging a 30-point triple double and just doing everything for their team on potentially a bad team. I don't think it will. I do think Denver is going to be a top 4 seed by the end of this. Yeah, they're 9-6, having lost a couple recently where Jokic was out for personal matters. So I think that number is a little bit underrepresented of how good they are as a team. But if they were to stay the 6th or 7th seed, I still think you got to give it to him. I still think what he has shown is just far and away more valuable, more impactful, does more to carry his team than any other player that we're seeing out there right now. And maybe that's because a lot of the other guys have been hurt. I mean, Kevin Durant started off the season super strong. I think they were like 8-1 with him, and now we're like 1-6 without him. Luka Doncic, I tried to watch some of his film to prep for this pod because I was like, can I make a Luka case? What do the numbers look like? And I fired up the Dallas Denver game. Luka wasn't playing. Luka's hurt. Fired up the Heat Mavs games. Luka's hurt again and still not playing. It like really tried to watch some Luka today and just failed.
Couldn't do it.
But like some of the other top candidates are injured, or maybe they haven't hit their stride yet. They're still kind of waiting for someone from Cleveland to distinguish themselves. Because like if you've got Cleveland winning 65 games and the Nuggets are at 45, maybe it does just go best player, best team.
I won't do it. I refuse. I'm not doing that. The thing is, the interesting thing with Luka, this is supposed to be his season. I think this was, and what do I always say? Next year's MVP. That's been Luka for years now. That's been my nickname for him. He'll get it next year, don't worry. Where he started the season slow, he's shooting 43%. The team has won some games without him, and now he's injured. And it's like this isn't going to be his year either, unless there's some just blistering hot like post December stretch that's coming. But Jokic is beyond anyone else. Right now, the Nuggets are outscoring teams by 33.1 points per 100 possessions. That is the 100th percentile. You know what's also crazy? Last season, they're outscoring teams by 23.7 points per 100 possessions. That's also the 100th percentile. He's so 100th that if he even adds 10 to that, it's still in the way. He was number 1 already, and it's 10 points higher. The difference in him being on the floor and off the floor is the greatest split we've ever seen in league history. There's nothing else like it. Right now on offense, they are the worst offense of all time when he sits, and the best offense ever when he's on the floor. That's the swing.
Listen, we love Lisco 2000, but I'm sorry, Dario Saric is so washed right now. I'm watching in the Mavs Denver game earlier today, and Dario's just getting bullied by Gafford. They're playing DeAndre Jordan, and the announcer's like, man, Jordan's really more of a locker room guy for Denver, but just Dario's getting pounded in the paint. Like, you got to try something else. And it's like, yeah. So of course he has this amazing on-off. No one else in Denver can play, and they have the cheapest ownership group outside of Sacramento.
Whoa. Whoa, our ownership isn't cheap. Is it? I guess they are. Okay, they're not cheap. They're broke. That's a difference. Because the Nuggets owner can afford it, and he chooses not to. The Kings owner is just one of the poor owners. That's the big difference. Big difference.
Fair. But I wanted to cheer for small market, true American team Los Angeles against Denver. And I got a lot of, oh no, we have to cheer for Denver because the evil of the Lakers, despite the fact that they're one of the biggest, richest ownership groups.
They own you guys. It's going to be a great Lakers season. You think it'll end in 5 games or 6 games this time to Denver?
5. Oh, I hate you. All right, let's do some defensive player of the years. Who is your third on who is third on your defensive player of the year ballot?
So I kind of cheated because I don't think he's gonna play enough games to actually qualify for this award when the season ends. But if we're saying it's just as of now, I said Chet Holmgren. He's only played in the 10
Mm.
games, and he's walking around in the biggest, longest crutches you've ever seen right now. And OKC practices. He's not close to returning, but the Thunder have the best defense in the league. They were 7.8 points per 100 possessions, better on defense when he was on the floor. When he was on the floor, team shot 7.4% worse around the rim and 4.5% worse from three. He does so much. That's a really rare combination of someone that doesn't give up threes and can defend the rim at a high level. I just thought he was fantastic.
I would agree. I do think the fact that OKC is just like conglomerate of defensive of players and their ability to dig down and help makes what he does even more valuable and look even better. Like I think if you were to stick him in Detroit or stick him, somewhere without other competent defensive players, maybe he's getting exposed a little bit more. And that is kind of my argument for my number 3 guy as well is Victor Wembanyama. I am having him third in the ballots right now just because while he is a terrifying defensive force in and of himself, and San Antonio has vastly improved on the defensive end, they're now the 7th best defensive team in the league by net rating. Watching him play, there are still times where he gets caught out of position. There's times where he's not where he should be. And part of that's, he's helping out more on the perimeter, and then they're getting backdoor cuts for layups, or he's stuck in the paint when he should be out. There's just still some kinks to work out before he is the all-dominant defensive force. And I wanted this to be like a snapshot of where we're at in the moment, because I think that could change by the time we get to April.
It is interesting. I do feel like you're punishing or like thinking of if they were on bad defensive teams in a negative light so much because like having good defensive players around you like makes things easier. It's exponential how impactful players are defensively. You can stick Hakeem Olajuwon on Detroit. He's gonna have a hard time covering for some of their defensive players, but that's just part of this. I think what those guys are doing is pretty spectacular. I want to also note that Holmgren players shot 43.6% when he was the main defender. That was second best with at least 250 minutes played. And he defended a 57.4% of shots around the rim while he was on the floor. So if a shot was coming in, like over half the time he was defending it. That was the best mark in the league. He held players to a really low shooting percentage and defended basically all the shots that were taken around the rim.
Good notes. Who is your number 2?
I had Evan Mobley.
Okay.
The Cavs are fantastic on defense, the second best defense, and his like on-off defensive numbers are about the same. He defends an elite amount of shots around the rim as well. 48% was the third most. Players shot 50% around the rim while he was the primary defender. It was the 13th best mark. He helps the Cavs limit scoring in the mid-range and the rim at the same time because he's quite switchable.
So I think this is really interesting because there's so many different ways to look at defense, and thus far I haven't had either of your 2 guys on my list. Mobley lowering opponents' field goal percentage from 46 down to 41%, one of the better marks in the league. But I didn't. There's good reasons to have him here. I just don't. My number 2 is Jalen Williams, J-Dub from Cleveland. I think what he's done is filling in for Chet in the center. From OKC. Thank you.
Who's your number 3? Wembanyama, right.
Wembanyama. Okay. Just what J-Dub has done, filling in at center, and even before that, like he is their defensive wing stopper. Or like you put Dort on the guards, you put J-Dub on a LeBron or a Durant, or a guy of that size, and he's supposed to handle them. And he's been fantastic. He's got some of the best defensive metrics in the league right now. He is the second best in on-off defensive rating in right now in the league. So just really good, but also playing for the number 2 defense and high deflection numbers. I'm really liking what he's putting up out there. Did he make your list at all? Is he number 1?
No, I had Wembanyama number 1. I don't mind that.
Mm.
I think he's been fantastic, and I think like going forward, he's probably taking Chet's spot. But I think in this first like 15 games, Chet's been the best defensive player in OKC. I just think what Wembanyama is doing is unbelievable. That the Spurs were the 7th best defense, right? I think per 100, it's more like closer to middle of the pack, but it's still a lot better than it was last season. Teams shoot woefully worse around the rim when he's on the floor, 7% worse. He's number 1 in defended field goal percentage at 40%, and he defends a ridiculous amount of shots. It's 46% of shots around the rim. He just covers so much ground, and the Spurs don't really have like other great defensive players, and I think he's kind of willing them to a great record. And you said the Spurs won't make the playoffs. Like, I don't know. They've been good this season. Like, I think like Harrison Barnes just won Player of the Week. Chris Paul is not washed, despite what I thought he'd be. Yeah, tough stuff.
So I want to pull up these numbers here from NBA.com. They're slightly different than your defended field goal percentage numbers, but Wembanyama is defending, has the second biggest differential in the league, lowering guys' average field goal percentage from 48% to 38%. That's a 10 percentage point drop. He's also defending 16.9 in field goal attempts per game. That is near the top of the league, not quite the top of the league here. Walker Kessler actually is 18.8 and lowering guys by just a little bit more, but I'm sorry, I cannot give it to a guy on Utah right now, just given how poorly the team is. But what I was getting at is the difference, guys. You also see next to Victor in the top 5 in differential, Jeremy Sohan and Charles Bassey. Just kind of a whole level of defense that has risen up from San Antonio in recent months. And like you get around Victor, and now you have to deal with someone else. And both Bassey and Sohan have played limited games, but like you're starting to see the Wembanyama affect more people than just him.
So who's your defensive player of the year?
Right now, it is Tari Eason.
Wow. Can't be right.
Absolute wrecking crew.
No. Yeah, all right. 20. Okay. I had him for 6th man of the year. He's a great defense. Play very much. I'm sorry. Come on.
Listen.
No, I have all the stats. I was gonna make a great 6th man of the year case, but defensive player of the year.
Absolutely.
Start some games.
No, we're not asking who's the best player out there.
No. That's
a few years ago. Zach Lowe did a piece about defensive player of the year. And what are we actually voting on here? Are we voting on who is actually the best defender, or are we talking about the best defender who plays lots of minutes? Are we sectioning off the Tony Allens of the world, the Bruce Bowens? Are we saying these guys don't matter because they've got a limited offensive game and get taken out? Or do we actually want the best defensive player? And I'm staking my claim right now that Tari Eason, when he is on the court, is more defensively impactful per minute than anyone else. And I'll
tell you what is going on. It's an equation. Take this equation. Defensive ability times minutes played equals overall defensive impact. And his mark is going to fall woefully short because he's not out there. And that's just how that is. And you can, the thing is, you can separate defense from offense on the offensive side because great offensive players play anyways. But you can't lean into the defensive side because he's not out there. He's playing 22 minutes a night. Defensive player of the year.
Yes.
My ass. You've lost your mind. I need to come on this podcast to make sure you haven't come up with takes like this more often. Is this what's going on when I'm gone?
Aaron, do we want to talk about where Tyrese Halliburton is ranked in the official Hoops Temple Top 100?
That was Dylan's fault. He made a good
Who let
case.
him talk? Who let him talk you into it?
He had a great. Honestly, though, I mean, like, could we see that Tyrese? It's not that Tyrese Halliburton is bad; it's that he's injured.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's not. It's not that Tari Eason is bad. It's just that he's freaking dominant on defense, and is limited by his situation.
Okay, well, I'll share my Tari Eason stats because you want to jump the gun on this. He's averaging 2.2 steals, 1.1 blocks per game. Per 36 minutes, that's 3.4 steals and 1.7 blocks per game. He has played the second most minutes out of anyone to hold that stat line per 36 minutes. He is a week away from becoming the longest holding member of that exclusive club. Usually it's like a guy plays 30 minutes and does it, but this is over 400 minutes at this point. Like, this is just how good Tari Eason is, and his defensive box plus minus is the highest in the league. I mean, he is fantastic, but in terms of overall defensive impact, I mean, come on.
Best defensive rating in the league.
He's the best defensive player that doesn't play enough to win the award. It's fine.
But he should.
Put him on your all defensive team.
Yeah, he'll probably make all defensive team. What award do you want to do next? What's calling to you?
Let's do Rookie of the Year.
All right. You got a third choice?
I do. I had Donovan Clingan. I feel like Clingan has been. I mean, let's just talk about the rookie class for a second. This rookie class is weak. We've gotten some surprises, but overall, like this class is about as bad as I thought it'd be. But Clingan has been really good. He has helped Portland be the 15th best defense.
Didn't he have like 8 blocks a few games ago?
I forget the block numbers. He had 19 rebounds, like 0 points and 19 rebounds. He's just a phenomenal rebounder. In the last 6 games, he's averaging 8 points, 10 boards, 3 blocks on 51% shooting. Team shoot 5% worse around the rim when he's on the floor. He's just a really solid player, and he's already better than DeAndre Ayton. It took about a month for him to take that starting spot. And Ayton has been injured a little bit, but it's really not close to me.
And the Blazers' defense is night and day when he's out there. Like when Ayton's out there, there's a sieve. There is a guy who is not active. Billups called the whole team out as like, you shouldn't want to go to sleep after losing a game like that. And then they came out and they played fantastic defense. You got Delano Banton and chasing guys around. I freaking love Delano Banton.
Banton's been awesome. Yeah, I think he has been incredible.
Loved him in Toronto, loving him here. But like Tamani Kamara, Banton, and Clegane out there, like they're a defensive force.
Clingan.
Young.
Sorry.
Clingan. No. It should be Clegane.
I shouldn't do that. It's a bad podcast etiquette. I'm a terrible co-host.
No, I appreciate it because the amount of times I have to listen to a Bill Simmons podcast where he's like, Luka, how does he even pronounce Doncic? Because he can't do the chiches. And Zach Lowe calls him out. He's like, it's just chich. He just does it wrong all the time.
Yeah, no, he does. Honestly, it took me a while to get the name because I didn't realize. I forget what it was, but there was some mispronunciation with it. But he's 7'2", 280. He's just gigantic. You put him out there, and he's been really effective. Yeah. I want to note Zach Edey's transition has been not bad. I would say he's just been kind of painfully average. Like, it's just like, yep, that guy's huge.
I feel like there's been moments and situations where it's really worked. And you're like, oh, yeah, this guy can set a soul-crushing screen. And when he's by the rim, he will gobble up boards and make it hard for you to score. And then he goes up against a team where he gets spaced out. And anyone that had anything critical to say of him are proven 100% right. And it's just like you just people that liked him can see what they want to see. People who disliked him can see what they want to see. And he just hasn't played enough to really like show which is going to be the true outcome.
Who was your third guy?
My third guy is Jared McCain.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I was wondering what you're going to do with him.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hear the anti-McCain case. Because that's where this is going. You want to give the positive McCain case first? Because I had him number 1.
No. I think everyone's got him number 1. The anti-McCain case is I'm just not giving an award to a Drake fan.
Is he a Drake fan?
Oh, yeah. Hella Drake fan.
Really?
I was going through his TikToks, and like every third TikTok is him to a Drake song, and then you look at his reposts, and he's like reposting about getting to listen to Drake early and like how much like just a bunch of Drake fan stuff. And so
Hmm.
I'm not going to yell into the microphone, but there's a large part of me that just wants to yell mustard and
Yeah.
just full Kendrick pick this shit because you can't in our year of the Lord 2024 be a pro Drake fan and get an award. That's my case
Hmm.
against him.
Do you have a real case?
No, he's a Drake fan.
Okay. All right. I mean, I think that
Listen,
the case against him is that his team's 3-12. Then he's putting up
Aaron,
like
we're
he's a
American.
good. Oh, okay.
What
You don't like
what more of a
Canadians.
case do you need?
Okay. I'll give the real case for maybe our Canadian or our international listeners. McCain's team is 3-12, and he doesn't do anything but score. There you go. He scores an efficient like 16 a night over the start of his career on a shitty team. Seriously though, over the last 8 games, he's been averaging 25 points a game. 25 points, 2.5 boards,
It's
4
been
assists.
fantastic.
He's taking like 10 threes a night, 45%. I mean, come on. He's been fantastic. I think he's been
Sure.
the best player. How old is McCain? Because I had a
Listen,
point to make.
listen, even his Drake love was not enough for me to bump him off that list. And part of that is just how bad the rookie class has been, and part of that has been him and Gershon Yabusele are the only two watchable pieces in Philadelphia right now, and like that is what it is. Like
Yeah.
it's been a rough time, and I love the city of Philadelphia too much to really rain on their parade. I want them to call him out. I want them to introduce him to Kendrick and get him on the right side of history here.
There you go. I want to take a pit stop for Philly real quick because I haven't been on since the season started. What a disaster! What a just unbelievable. This is the biggest disaster in the league right now. Um, Embiid looks like he's completely washed. His body seems like it's failing him. Paul George, that contract looks like the worst ever. He's been injured twice, and when he plays, he does not play well. I really liked the Sixers offseason, but so much hinged on Embiid and Paul George being healthy. Looking back on it, that's the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. What a dumb assumption. I no, did you mean no one stopped me and was like, "Hey, you realize you're banking on Paul George and Joel Embiid to be healthy?" Come on, guys. Like, I need more accountability. Someone help me.
I, I listen. I had a friendsgiving over the weekend, and I have a lot of friends in my life that are very casual basketball fans, are very like they enjoy the sport, they love the sport, but they're not going on Basketball Reference. They're not looking things up. They're not following the news. And one of them's like, "Hey, has Kawhi really not played all season?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's been out." And they're like, "Man, I bet you Paul George really he is happy he left the Clippers." And I'm like, "Oh, buddy, oh, buddy, no, because he went to the 76ers, and it's equally as bad, if not worse." Like, um,
It might be
just
worse. I don't know, because I feel like with Kawhi, like, he may not have knees, but I'm sure when he plays, he's gonna be fine. Where Embiid's looked awful. I feel like he's looked really
mhm.
just poor. He doesn't rebound, and it feels he looks like someone who's you can't move anymore. He looks stiff. It's
saying
just the knees are bad.
Yeah, saying his movements look robotic is probably an insult to modern robotics because like even those things, even the like full court basketball shooting robot has a more fluid movement than what we're seeing out of Embiid right now. And I am just gonna say, like, it's still early enough that I'm not just writing the 76ers off just yet because I said it in the offseason as soon as they got Paul George, this move doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is are these guys healthy or is Joel Embiid healthy come April? And if you got to shut Embiid down for the next couple of months and you just say, hey, we're going to lean in, we're going to play Jared McCain in and Tyrese Maxey, like that's just going to be our team. We're going to throw those guys out there and eke along to a 40 win pace, which in the East is doable. Um, do it, do it, and then get everyone healthy and be ready for the playoffs and try to come in as an 8 seed.
It's possible. I think that the East is going to support about 6 or 7 above 500 teams.
Yeah.
And so take a look at that. Like, can you get to? Can you? I said the same thing for Milwaukee. I don't think the Bucks will have this problem anymore. But like, you probably need to get about 32 wins to make the 10 seed.
Yeah.
That's insane. That bothers me.
Do you are you pro firing Nick Nurse?
No. Nick Nurse is the only competent person in the organization.
He is the one that everyone does believe, or it is highly theorized that Nick Nurse is the leak that leaked the Joel Embiid information, and just it does sound like there might already be a sour locker room on him.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Show up on fucking time to the things you're paid millions of dollars for if you don't want your stuff leaked. There you go.
Sure.
Fixed it for you. I'll buy you a watch. Tells the time. Show up when things start.
Should make sure it's an analog watch so we can set it 15 minutes ahead of time. And so that way, he even has a little bit more of a grace period.
Yeah, perfect. Fixed it for you. You don't want your stuff leaked? Don't do stupid stuff.
Fair enough. All right. Who's second on your rookie ladder?
Well, I had Klingon, and then I gave away number 1 McCain. So I'll just finish this out. I don't connect. And I feel like with Connect, he's just fit in so well. He would do really well with a team in Sacramento that could use a wing that shoots threes about right about now.
Oh yeah.
But I guess he didn't spend enough time in college. He should have spent like a 5th or 6th year, and he doesn't play point guard. So Monty Manera did not want him.
I think he did spend a 5th year. I hate to tell you this.
Did he actually? I thought it was just
23. I've been getting into it with Orlando Magic fans. They're gonna just hate this podcast.
Oh wow! But, okay, what's that like?
So I went to Michigan State, and the Orlando Magic seem to have this obsession with drafting guys from the University of Michigan. Big rivalry. We all hate each other, and so it's a bit of a bit that I just hate all U of M guys. So I'm like trashing Franz. And I had to check. Dalton Knecht is older than Franz Wagner by like a full year. Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's good because Knecht has been really good. The Lakers are 13.6 points better on offense per 100 possessions when he's out there. The Lakers shoot better from every single distance when he's out there. He's shooting 137.2 points per shot attempt. I mean, it's just hyper efficient, like long range shooting. He seems really comfortable. He gets to his spots in the perimeter, knocks them down. He moves off ball well. I do feel like this is like the annual, a player that's 25 years old as a rookie comes in and is really good. And people are like, man, you overthink these draft guys, way overthink this. And like, I think Zachary Sichet will be better than Knecht next season. They give me 1 year. Like these guys are going to develop. And it's the same thing really quickly with who was the older rookie last year, but it's like, I'm forgetting. But you would take like Bilal Coulibaly for Washington. He's 20 years old. Like you would take that guy over like the Jaime Jaquez. Jaime Jaquez was like, man, really overthought that. Jaime Jaquez is fine. Like he's a fine player. But you're gonna see like why you take the younger prospects first because they could be so much more.
I think it was a Daryl Morey interview where he was discussing the fact that we've gotten worse at drafting. He's like, if you look at models that like, all right, here was the draft. Here's how these guys progressed. And you look at a draft from like 2010 versus like the 80s. The 80s guys are more closely ranked, to their actual draft order. The guy that goes 1 is more likely to be the best player than a guy that's going now. And the guy that's drafted 5 is more likely to be the 5th best player than the guy drafted 5th now. Because we have such an age disparity. And like in the 80s, everyone was 22. You got to see finished products. And now, like, Bilal could very well be better. He probably will be better than Dalton Knecht. But when you draft a 19-year-old rookie, there's also a huge chance that he's a Marquise Chris or a Josh Jackson or a Dragan Bender or
Cam Reddish.
Or I was trying to stick to just Phoenix Suns draft picks because they did this so much.
I didn't even see the trend. That's funny.
But yeah, so like I'm enjoying Dalton Knecht. I'm loving it. He gets out and runs. Like the Lakers don't usually run the fast break, but Dalton does. So he is also my number 2. My number 1 is Jalen Wells, the mid-second round draft pick who's been starting in place of Ja while Ja's been hurt or while Bane's been hurt. He's kind of combo guarding it up. And like he's just been really good. He's been competent. The uh, the Grizzlies won with Scottie Pippen Jr. and Jalen Wells at their guard spots against Chicago and against a couple other teams. And like, I don't think he's doing anything super special. He is 12 points a night, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 40% 3-point shooting. But like he's the starter on a team that's playing well. And I that's more than what we're seeing from any other draft picks at this point. Can you name me one other draft pick that's starting on a team that's playing well? Ricochet?
Yeah, I think I really do like Ricochet. I mean, his shooting
do
percentage
too.
has been poor all season. It's like 38%. But you watch him, you're like, okay, like this is a developing product that I feel like he understands. Like he understands the basketball process. I think he's in the right spots at the right times. He flows well with
Mhm.
Trey, and it'll all develop. Like that guy's gonna put on muscle. He's gonna be more explosive, get a better handle, and he's gonna be a really awesome wing. All right, most improved. Our next award. I took this literally. You know my
Okay.
bad answers before your good ones. I trusted that you would show up with like
Oh,
legitimate. So I went
Aaron,
back and
Aaron,
yeah.
we're a fifth of the way into the season. Have I given you legitimate answers on any of these? My rookie of the year is Jalen Well, my defensive player of the year is Tari Eason. I guess my MVP is Jokic. That's legit, but
That's a legitimate
you might
answer.
you might be putting too much faith in this right now.
I might be. Okay, so I went back. So I did my goodness scale for this like yesterday, and then
Yeah.
I put it together. I compared it to the end of last year, and it's like who mathematically is the most improved player.
Hmm.
Number 3, and this was like of players that are at least playing now, because we have some like weird small sample size stuff, but
Yeah.
Grady Dick, 394th last year to 143rd. I've seen him just kind of settle into his offense, shoot the ball better. Mid-range stuff isn't really good. Another Raptor, Ochai
Hmm.
Abaji, also been really
Hmm.
good, 406 to 131st. And then the
Did
most
you?
improved player. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, didn't realize that Ochai was second. And
Mhm.
go ahead, give me your third, and I'll tell you my Ochai and Grady Dick story.
So the number 1 most improved player this season is Jay Huff, 441st to 77th. And basically we're seeing like the 400 range on that scale is like back end of the bench, and then into the 100 150ish is going to be like legitimate starters. And I mean Huff and those guys have made that leap from like guys you probably don't want to play ever to actual starters.
I mean, Huff went from a guy on a two-way contract to start the year to a guy who's getting guaranteed millions of dollars over multiple years, whereas as the Grizzlies have signed him, like that level of improvement is I don't know, it takes you out of being the guy that's like, oh yeah, I played professional basketball in the NBA for a couple of years, and now I work at a used car dealership, coasting on that fame of a couple of 10 days, to being a guy who is like driving his kids to private school in a Porsche or something. Like it's huge, and that means a lot. And the fact that he was knocking down threes against the Lakers um, it was great.
He's
So I'm
7'1",
happy to see.
defends the rim, runs the floor, hits threes. I mean, yeah, someone needs to check in on like Denver's developmental staff. They had this guy. They played him 20 games at 2.5 minutes a night. For the team that we mentioned with the worst backup center in the league, that would J Huff would have been pretty good.
That would be nice. That would be
All right, who
nice.
are your
Uh,
most improved players?
yeah. So I'll do two honorable mentions here. Christian Brown, who by a lot of numbers has improved statistically a ton. I think that's a lot of just improvement in minutes and playing next to Jokic. Like Denver has always done 5-man rotations. You play more of your minutes with Jokic, your uh, all of your advanced numbers are going to look better. Your ratings are going to look better. Your efficiency is going to look better. Second one, or second honorable mention is Franz Wagner. He's shown up. He has played decently well without Paulo out there. I'm not going to give him too much credit. I've had a lot of Magic fans in the comments asking him for faint praise, for generic love for Franzi. He has good games and he has bad games. I posted a video. They played the Clippers and didn't get any Magic fans being like,
Love it.
see how good he did against the Clippers. Next game they played the Lakers and they're like, can we get an update? I'm like, yeah, he had one good game and he had one trash game. Like,
Mm.
you
And
know,
yeah, just note that they're relentless. They'll never stop. They'll never end. Like, and they're a specific like breed of NBA fan. They're like zombies. You have to cut their heads off for them to stop bothering you.
so my legitimate answers, my two third and second place, and I don't really know. You can flip flop these around. Grady Dick, um, he's been the most competent Raptor in several of the early season games where they've been missing Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett missed games. Like Grady Dick was legitimately the best Raptor for multiple games. That might be why they're so bad, but I wasn't sure if he was going to be a starter this year, and now he looks like he could be a key cog. And
Is
then
he your most
Dyson
improved?
Daniels. No, these are second and third for me.
Okay, gotcha.
Then Dyson Daniels, which
Good one.
once again could just be an improvement in role, but he's been a defensive menace. He will lead the league in steals per game. He's going to come close to setting like an NBA record in steals per game. He currently would have it if he finished the year right now. So just a menace. The Hawks defense has been vastly improved with him out there. But then my number one, and this is kind of a joke answer, but also kind of serious, is Gershon Yabusele. Because last year he was not in the NBA. Where was he at on the Aaron Goodness scale last year?
He was outside of it entirely. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, he's been compared to I should go check. What was the last time he played? I'll tell you.
I don't know, 2020?
No, like when he got drafted.
Yeah, he 2019.
All right, 1 second.
I was close. That wasn't a bad guess.
Let's see, 2019. He was pretty far back here. Far back, I don't have the numbers.
Yeah,
for
just keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling.
Yeah, 1 second. All right, there we go. 449th. And then how about this year?
Okay. 123rd.
That's your guess?
Yeah.
173. Go further back. That's a large jump though, and that'd be the worst player out of the three that I mentioned, compared to last season, and then a pretty big improvement. Some other guys for most improved: Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole. Thought about that.
Yeah,
really thought about that.
So you know how the NBA used to have a comeback player of the year award?
Yeah, we should give that out.
They got. So I was looking into why they got rid of it, and they got rid of it because, yes, everyone that won it was basically a guy who lost the previous year due to cocaine or some sort of drug abuse. And they're like, we really have to stop celebrating guys coming back from cocaine suspensions. But I think nowadays, like, that'd be a kind of fun award to give out because Zach LaVine has looked good at moments this year.
Yeah.
I was fully out on Klay Thompson. I thought he was going to be done. And he has looked very good this year at times. So, like, maybe that's one that we should bring back. It's just like, hey,
has he?
Was good, wasn't good.
I haven't. I mean, I don't think Klay Thompson's looked good at all. He's shooting 38% from the field. He's averaging 13 minutes a game. He's playing 28 minutes a night. Sorry, 13 points a game, 28 minutes a night, 38% from the field, and a big ass contract. I don't know. I think it's been a disaster, respectfully.
I mean,
I think
he's doing the things that they want him to do. He's in threes.
I think the thing with Klay is that whether he's playing poorly or well, he looks the same. He's going through the same motions, the same off-ball stuff. He's taking the same shots, and so you really can't tell when he's playing like shit. And you look up and you're like, wow, Klay Thompson shooting 25% from the field. Like, I didn't even notice.
You know, the other thing with Klay is he's definitely kind of hit his DeMar DeRozan era where he's no longer a shooting guard. He has to play up, and like he's got enough mass to him that he can. Watching the Miami game, like he guarded Kevin Love at times. He guarded Jimmy Butler, which was funny because these were both guys that were shooting guards at times and are just no longer shooting guards. We need to stop thinking about them as shooting guards. But they've both kind of like aged and scaled up.
Clay's below Yusuf Nurkic on my scale. Sorry. I think it's a great point. I'm just curious to see how he like develops into the Mavs, because I think the Mavs are still kind of trying to figure out who they are. It's a little tricky for a team that just made the finals having to go through this again. Luka missing time doesn't help, but let's power through our 6 men of the year candidates to wrap this up.
All right. My third guy is Buddy Hield. Just
I had him
his
second.
flamethrower. His flamethrower touch from three, his impact has really helped Golden State come back and look good again. He is now a splash buddy. He's not a splash brother, but a splash buddy. And we knew what he was, and he is what he is.
Yeah, he's really fit in well. He's fit in well. My third guy was Tari Eason, but we talked about him already. Coming off the bench is just a defensive monster. Defense player of the year, apparently. Then I had Buddy Hield. Oh, okay, of course. Number one, I had Payton Pritchard. 27 minutes a night coming off the bench every game for the Celtics. He's averaging 14 points a game. He's taking 8 threes a night at 41%. Per 36 minutes, he's taking almost 11 threes a game. He's out there to shoot threes in volume, and he's making a ton of them. It is interesting. I feel like in like Celtics circles, or just in NBA circles, really, everyone's like, no, Payton Pritchard's actually really good. Like, no, I think this guy's good. Like, is he the novelty player for a great team, or can he really be good? This season, he's shown that he actually is really good.
See, I did not have Payton Pritchard in my three pack. I went for Ty Jerome, which I think is a somewhat similar case. But I feel like when Ty Jerome gets in the game for Cleveland, the offense doesn't change. Like, he just fills in for Garland or Mitchell, whoever they've subbed him in for, because basically they always keep two of those three guys out there. And he's just filled in really well. He is shooting about 50% from three. 54% from three, lower volume, just 3 attempts, but like, he's driving and kicking well. He continues to command the offense. Pritchard, I'm still on the Pritchard as a novelty act. Like, he's putting up a ton of threes, but he's putting up a ton of threes behind one of the best starting fives. Like, oh yeah, you get to come in the game when you're already up 20 points. Must be tough.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah.
Yeah. This was good. Anything else you've been kind of seeing or noticing NBA wise? Is that you just want to get off your chest on a recording or line?
Let me see. Fire Mike Brown. There you go. That's all I got. I'm gonna go make Kings videos, complain about stuff.
Well, Aaron, where can the people find you?
Possible Chairs on TikTok, Possible Chairs on Twitter, the Blue Sky app, apparently. Haven't posted anything on there, but I technically am there. My Patreon, and I do have a Cameo if you want to pay me to say stuff. Haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. Per Cameo, you are excellent for birthday parties, videos, and I believe bachelor/bachelorette parties is what it was telling me.
Is that what it said?
Yeah, it gave like a whole list of graduations, which I think is probably the just generic list. Yeah, I'm still waiting for Blink-182 to get on there. I'll pay them real money for a video. So that's kind of my Cameo goals, is to get Blink on there. You can find me, Nate_Hoops on TikTok, and the Hoops Temple page on YouTube. Also, email the show, hoopstemple@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.